What is up? What is up, guys? Welcome to the Sovereign Life podcast. My name is Dylan Lowe, guys, and today we are here with our special guest, Mike Manfre, owner, founder of Utah's #1 Google-ranked nutrition program, Evolve Culture.
Yeah,
Mike,
thanks for having me.
up?
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Dylan.
We're also here with Blake, my business partner in Sovereign Lifestyle and PNBA Pro. New pro this year.
Thank you. Yeah.
You new pro this year?
New pro, dude.
Wow, dude.
New pro only took
Crazy.
3
You
years.
didn't. You should have brought that up right when we met.
Oh yeah, there.
Yeah, that should be the second that you bring up.
There we go. I know. Just needs to be on. I need to wear it around my neck.
Yeah,
I'll
I'd
just
wear
wear
like a
my
t-shirt.
medal everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild. We've been
do.
turning out pros, dude. 'Cause
Yeah.
we got you and Chase last year, and then this year we're running up with like 15 dudes.
We've got
for
like-
one single show.
Yeah,
like
like
it's
15 in our first show.
That's
about
wild.
to be
it's
crazy,
awesome.
dude.
That's
But,
cool.
Anyways, Mike. So for those of you who are, in kind of our world, Mike and I have, he's been a really big mentor of mine over the last few years. Obviously I'm quite a bit younger, and being a fitness coach, it's a really interesting world to navigate because it's not like everywhere else where people are encouraging of it. It's kind of a industry where you really have to believe in yourself a lot. And to me, that was one of the things that really stuck out with Mike was he genuinely has this really deep ingrained belief in himself. And so today, more than anything, I just kind of wanted to talk about the mindset that went into building Evolve Culture into what it is today, because that has been something that whenever I doubt myself or whenever I've gone through hard stuff during this process, because I've been at it for around 6 years now, I just remind myself that Mike's done it, or you're a few steps ahead of me. So if you can do it, I can do it as well. And that's kind of allowed me to build Sovereign Lifestyle the way that I have. So anyways, I just wanted to take today and, dive into the mindset behind Evolve Culture, what it took to get there, the transition from, working a 9 to 5 to being self-employed. But before, first and foremost, Mike, give us an introduction on yourself.
Yeah. So, my name is Mike Manfre. So I've been a nutrition coach for about 14 years. I was in law enforcement previously, and I started in law enforcement at 21. So I started really young, and it made me grow up really quick when you get a badge. And I think it saved me from getting in trouble, honestly. Mm-hmm. But I did it for about 7 years, and I met a mentor, kind of like what I've been to you and others. I met a mentor 5 years into being in law enforcement, and I was already sick of that job. It wasn't for me at all. Mm-hmm. And so I sat in his office, dude, and I was like, wow, this is, because I wanted to do a bodybuilding show. So a buddy of mine was like, hey, go see this guy. He tells you what to eat. I was like, that sounds pretty awesome. He just maps it out for you. He's like, yeah. I said, cool. So I went and meet with this guy, and I sat in his office. The first 5 minutes, I was blown away by what he was telling me, proper foods and all this, just all this information I had no clue about.
Yeah.
So I remember telling him, man, I'm so sick of my job. Can I just mentor you? Can I just clean the toilets? I'll shine your shoes, go get your groceries. Tell me what I got to do to be you, right? And so he said, yeah, I'll bring you on, just shadow underneath me. And I just became his shadow, man. I was just sponging with everything he was doing. I'd go to events with him. We'd go to different events and public speaking events. I just shadowed him wherever he was. Mm-hmm. And I did that for about a year. And then finally he kind of released me to the wild and let me see some clients underneath him and his mentorship. And by year 7 in law enforcement, I figured I'd take that jump. I was ready to jump.
So by then you were what, 28?
I was 20 years old, 27.
27.
27.
Cool.
Yep. And 28, I guess. Yeah. October of 2011.
Dang.
Yeah. A long time ago. Yeah.
Gee, man.
And there was no Instagram. I don't think there was Instagram yet, but there was really no social media present like there is now, right? So it was really just like you base it off referrals. We'd go to a lot of events. We'd go to a lot of seminars. Yeah. And so, that's just, and I remember being with him for a few years underneath his mentorship and seeing clients. And I learned a lot. And then one day I decided just to go off on my own, 2015. I was actually getting ready to compete in Miami in 2015, nationals. Yeah. And that year, November 2015, I was in the process of starting my own business, right? Jumping off in my own and also getting ready for a men's physique competition and national stage. So it was just, I remember it was just a crazy month.
Yeah.
November of 2015. So then I just jumped and I started my own business and here we are today.
Nice.
So.
And now you're Utah's #1 ranked nutritionist.
Yeah. It's been hard. It's like, it's pulling teeth trying to get reviews from people, you know? So in 2015, I started Mike Manfre Fitness and I did that for about 4 years. And then in 2019, I hired a business coach and he was like, nope, you're getting everything wrong. Cause I wasn't getting as many clients as I thought I would.
Yeah.
Now my average clientele are average folks. They're not competitors. They're not, they're the stay-at-home mom or they're the dad bod that wants to lose a bunch of weight, right? That was my clientele. But my company, Mike Manfre Fitness at the time, was only attracting competitors.
Yeah, very harsh. I've seen your logo. It's like black and red.
Yeah,
right?
it was MMF, and it was just like people would see that and they'd see my Instagram and just be like, "Oh, this guy just must work with competitors."
Yeah,
and that's not who I wanted. So my business coach, who I hired, it was worth every penny. He said, "You got to rebrand, dude. You got to just start something new. Don't use the word fitness." And so we actually did a whole thing on like color schemes and what's good, what's bad. Red was not good, obviously.
Yeah, I actually love that.
Yeah.
I think as an entrepreneur, it's so hard to get out of your own head. Of
course.
See because I see people make this mistake all the time and they like put their name in the logo, which is, or in the name of the company.
Sure.
Which like probably it worked for like Ford and like, big companies like that are well established, but like, if your name's in the brand nowadays, nobody's going to buy into that.
No one's going to buy into that.
They want to buy into something bigger than you. So,
and my thought process was basically, I had a good name in fitness. And so I figured I'll choose my name because people will know who's behind it.
Yeah.
Right. And it did work. I did increase my clientele, but not like the way I wanted to go.
You weren't reaching the people you wanted.
Yeah. And when my business coach first told me to change, I was like, bro, I got t-shirts, I got hats. I'm not changing my name, dude.
Yeah.
I've already branded myself for the last 4 years on this company, right? And my name, and we got clothing, bro. So what do you want me to do with the clothing?
So this was 4 years after you had transitioned.
Correct.
So you were 31, 32?
Yep.
By the time? Cool.
Yep. Yeah. And so we eventually I came up with the name Evolve. I just love that name in general. I think the word evolve is just, it can be for anything, more than just nutrition or fitness. It could be, you want to evolve in every aspect in life.
Exactly.
So I felt like that was a very cool name, and then just making it a culture.
Yeah.
Is what I loved. And then we did the color scheme on it. My color's more of like a mint. It's more of a very, soft, welcoming color, right? And so that's where Evolve Culture came from. And that was 2019, and I've doubled my income, my business every year.
Dang.
So it's been wild.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
That's crazy. So
yeah.
To bring it back to the early days, right? Because this is one thing that, like, obviously our demographic is very young entrepreneurs. Blake and I now run a team of 13 online nutrition coaches as well. The big problem that a lot of young men have, right, when it comes to like, I feel like everybody's so split in like, do I do what mom and dad said was like the right path, or do I do what I actually believe the world needs, right? And for me, that was like, it was a really hard transition because I felt like I was just going absolutely crazy. Like I felt like I had let people down and like my life was ending and like all this stuff. When truly it was like, I just wanted to do what I believed in, right? So to go back to you, what was your transition period like from, being a cop and doing what, taking the job that maybe you didn't want 100% to finding that passion and turning it into a source of income and, everything that it's become now?
Yeah. Well, my dad was pissed when I told him I was leaving the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
He loved saying that his son was in law. He was pissed, and he was that. I don't know if you guys read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep.
My dad was the poor dad, right? That was just like, go get a job, work for 50 years and just play it safe. That's my dad's old school mentality.
Yeah.
And so, I decided, because I actually stayed in that job longer than I wanted to, I just didn't know what else to do. I was only 24 or 25, but yeah. So I just think I would see other people being successful and doing what their passion was. And I remember saying, just like what you were saying earlier, if they can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
Right. If he's making it, I don't think he's better than me. He probably has a system.
Yeah.
Or he probably has a mentor, right? And just systems set in place to make him successful. He's not better than me. Mm-hmm. And so once I figured that out, like, wow, okay, I can probably do the same thing. Maybe it just takes time. That's how I was able to do that. And again, finding a mentor, and it just clicked, right? Finding that right time of someone that you meet in your life.
Yeah.
I know you kind of found one of those as well, and it helps.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, it was my passion. And I was a fitness trainer at 24 Hour Fitness for over 10 years.
Yeah.
But while I was in law enforcement, cops don't make any money.
Yeah.
And so, when I was a trainer, I was already kind of in the habit of training people and training clients. So I was already in that world.
Yeah.
The problem with my world was, though, if I was training somebody 3-4 days a week, they weren't seeing the results I thought they would see.
Yep.
And why is that? I couldn't focus on their eating.
Exactly.
We can work out what I call sweat equity. We're going to get equity out of this sweat, right? What you're putting in today, you're going to get benefited by tomorrow. And they weren't seeing the results I thought they would see. And it was because I couldn't control their eating.
Yep, exactly.
And that's when I really realized how important the nutrition aspect is of being a coach, and how I can truly help somebody by telling them what to eat and how much to have and so forth.
Yeah. Well, and it's the basic 80-20 rule, right? Like what fitness coaches nowadays, a lot of the time, and this is what weeds out the people, the top most successful fitness coaches from everyone else, is that most fitness coaches focus on giving their clients everything, right? Which is great. It's good to deliver a lot, but at the same time, it's like, what are the things that actually move the needle, right? Like you don't need to give your client everything. You need to give them what works, right? And that's why, like when you're selling something, and this is why the successful ones make so much more, is they don't sell the process, they sell the result.
Yep.
Right? So if you can promise results, then you can charge whatever you want, which is really, really cool. And that's one of the big things that I learned from you, because you know, like you've disconnected that from what most people, you know, like most people play this game of like, well, Vasa charges $300 a month and EOS charges $350. And so I'm going to come in and I'm going to charge $250. And it's like, okay, but you know, then you take on 80 clients and you're burnt out and you hate your job, you know, and you just deliver crappy results to every single person involved. So, anyways, yeah, like I think that's one of the main things that I took from you as well, is just like sell the result, not the process. You know,
when you learn how to solve someone's problem, you can make a lot of money and help a lot of people. That's all it comes down to, is can I solve your problem, right? And I wouldn't say guarantee results. I'll never guarantee results because I don't know how you're good. That's like me saying, here's a blueprint to build a house. It's only going to take 6 months. Here you go. Well, if you work on that house once a week, it's probably going to take you longer. Right? Same with your body. I never guarantee results. I can say, here's what people are doing. Here's what my average client's losing. Do you want to be average or above? But I never guarantee results just for that reason. Because like I can't say, dude, you're gonna lose 30 pounds in the next 6 months. You might not, because if you're having 4 cheat meals instead of 1. So I tell people, I don't guarantee results. I just show you what the average person's doing. And are you doing at least the average? Can you be at least the average person losing weight? Right, or losing fat? So, but yeah, you solve someone's problem, you're gonna not have any financial issues. I'll tell you that, and you'll help a lot of people. 100%.
Yeah. So the next thing is that I wanted to focus on is the mentality, right? Because I think that's one thing that a lot of people neglect when going from a 9-to-5 to entrepreneurship is like, I mean, most people, when it comes to working a 9-to-5, they can show up and just get by, right? And they still have a paycheck. But when you're an entrepreneur, you have to optimize everything at the highest level, right? Meaning you have to consume the personal development and you have to work through your limiting beliefs and things like that. So in that time period, not only were you shown how to do it, right, logistically, but at the same time, you needed to invest in yourself by, you know, reading books and like figuring that type of stuff out. So what was it that helped you get to that point mentally?
Well, you can be shown everything, but if you don't execute it, then you just have a lot of knowledge, but you're still poor and not helping anybody. Right. So you definitely have to execute. When someone shows you something, you have to execute it. But making that transition, you know, I would say they give you a guaranteed paycheck to make you forget about your dreams. Right. That's usually how it works. Here's this guaranteed paycheck. You get paid the same amount every month. Forget your dreams. Look, you get guaranteed money every month, every 2 weeks. That's boring, dude. No one wants that. There's a lot of people that want it because they're doing it. But it takes that, you know, I would say if you're not truly in enough pain, you'll never change. Right. And I remember I was in the negative in my bank account, dude. I was 25 years old and I was in the negative in my bank account. I was dating a girl at the time. She was my girlfriend. She was like 20, right? And I was 25. I remember I couldn't even afford to go to the movies. She's like, hey, let's go to see a movie. And I was like, I don't get paid for like 4 more days. Right. And I just barely started dating her. I'm like, so she had to pay for my move. Like this 20-year-old girl who I'm 25, she had to pay for our moves and our dinner, dude. I was like, this is it. I'm done. I got to change. Right. So I was in enough pain to really focus on, wow, this 9 to 5 thing is not working out for me too well.
Yeah.
Right. And if I want to make more money, I got to work more overtime and just work my life away. I'm not about it. So the mentality was, I'm in enough pain to change. How do I change? What's the steps?
Yeah.
Right. Step one was, and again, it just happened. My buddy saying, go see this guy. But step one was find a mentor. Find someone that's doing what you want to do. Right. And then execute when he shows you what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Implement it. And that was my mentality. I remember when I left the first day, I made my first paycheck was $700 extra. I mean, I was only making like $2,000 a month in law enforcement, $2,400 a month take home.
Yeah.
Right. Wild.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I made one sale, from a client, and it was like $800, $750. I remember driving home and being like, dude, I am like Donald Trump right now. I am balling. I just made $800 selling one person a package.
Yeah.
I couldn't even believe it, dude. And I was like, I remember driving home that day going, okay, this is it. I'm not going to go back.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to start grinding and again, reading books and learning and all that stuff. But what it comes down to, it's like having a degree. Do you have a degree?
An associate's, so kind of.
Okay. I don't have any degrees.
Yeah.
Right. No one's ever hired me and said, hey, first of all, dude, what's your degree in?
Yeah.
I've never had anyone ask ever.
Yep.
In 15 years, 14 years.
Yep. It's all
If you're good with people, social proof. If you know what you're talking about, you live it yourself, you have social proof, you don't need a degree on a wall, right? You got to learn how to deal with people.
Yep.
Because if you're not good with people, this is not the business for you.
Oh, yeah.
Right. As far as coaching, and that goes for anything. Coaching, regardless of whatever you're trying to coach, right? If you're a real estate agent, you're going to coach people. Whatever type of coaching you are, if you're not good with people, you're not going to make it far.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's I think a lot of people kind of take this like ignorance is bliss approach to just to their careers in general, because it's like a lot of the time we are so like it's ultimately just like a victim mindset, but I don't think that people truly understand that. Like it's more of an unconscious decisions that they make, where it's like we've been told that we're introverts, right? And I always tell people, like, if you believe that you're an introvert, like I don't know how they convinced you of that. Like humans are we're made to be social, like. So with that being said, what most people do is they just think, oh, I'm an introvert, and so I just need to do the things to like get there without being social at all, right? So reading books and going to school, and that's where like overcompensating by going to school tends to be a problem, because you're also like, I always talk to people and I'm like, or whenever I talk about school, it's like, that's the worst case scenario. Like with a mentorship, like a lot of the time you're not really even paying, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
I mean, do you know what
like
school
that.
was designed for?
What?
Do you know what school was designed for?
Nope.
To make good employees.
Yeah.
It makes sense too, because it
That's
really does
what it was
create
designed for.
paradigms. Literally, like
Yeah,
you think about growing up through elementary school, all those different things. They teach you how to behave, how to listen, how to follow like the exact way you have to. If they're just because there's like 6 different ways to solve a math problem, but you have to do it the way they teach you how to do it. Totally carries over, and I think we see it in a lot of our coaches too.
Yeah.
Like just this. You can see the ones that it clicks in, kind of like he said, they'll either hit like a pain point where they're like, okay, I'm not looking for this anymore. Or the other way around, where they're just you're trying to get it to click in their head, and it's just hard to get to that point.
Yeah. I mean, I have 2 daughters. They're in school. Well, my 6-year-old is, but we're like, does she even need school? Like legit. I can just teach her everything she needs to know to be successful.
It's true.
Yeah.
Right. Does she really need to know math problems and, geography? Like, dude, I don't think she needs to know all that. Honestly, I just don't think she needs to.
Well, and it's like, if you were to look at the payout, right? Because this was one of the things that drove me absolutely insane, because I was going to school to be a dentist.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be in school for 8 years. Right. So not only am I showing up and working for 8 years, I'm paying to do it.
Yep.
Right. And then once I get out, I pay back all the money, and it's going to take me from the age of 28 to 40 to get to 0. And then from there, I have a decent income. And I was like, if I just took the same amount of money and invested it in literally anything, and just, as long as I don't blow it, it's a better
Invest
return.
in the S&P 500, bro.
Yeah, 10%.
Yeah.
I started doing the numbers
Yeah.
on that, or real estate, or like, and I always say like business is the best investment because it truly is a bet on yourself.
Of course.
Right? Because a business like S&P 500's 10%, real estate's 15%, but a business like I think Sovereign Lifestyle's growth was 1,000% last year.
Literally.
Like,
yeah.
Insane.
Maybe
Literally.
more. I don't know the exact
Well, in
percentage.
the last, think
but
about the last 3 months.
yeah. So you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like my point being that if you take the same amount of resources and pour them into something that you actually are passionate about and care about, you can get a pretty crazy return on that. But most people, the problem is that most people just, one, they're so conditioned to go to school, which is the worst case scenario. And then two, they don't do any work that they're not paid for directly. Right. And that's what it's rich dad, poor dad, right? Like the story where they work in the market and he doesn't pay them.
Yep.
Right. And everybody starts to get pissed. And it's like, well, if I pay you, you don't learn. Right. So, and that's one of the things we're trying to break through with our coaches now is like, I don't post on Instagram every day because I get paid to do it. I don't do all the back end stuff in Sovereign Lifestyle because I get paid $10 an hour to do it. Like I do it so that I can create a flow, so that I can create a system so people can come in. And then I wake up in the morning and cha-ching, I've made a few $1,000s because somebody has came through my system that I've spent years developing.
Yep.
You know,
it's like writing a book. You write a book once and you get paid on it forever, right?
Yep.
Same process.
Exactly.
And 20 years ago, people driving the Lambos and McLarens and all that stuff, they were doctors and dentists and all that stuff. And now that's not the case.
Yeah.
Right now, it's most people that are making money on the internet and all that stuff. So
yeah,
times have changed for sure. I mean, the whole school mentality is dead.
Yeah.
For the most part, right?
Yep.
And so
anyways, to kind of come back to the original question, what was it that you did? Like if there was anything like in terms of books, podcasts, things like that you did to invest into your mentality to get you to that point, what do you feel like it was besides the mentor? Obviously you had some
I just think I'm legit learning sales, learning the psychology of people and how to speak to your audience, right? If you really listen, we want to change lives and we do it for money too. We're not doing it for free, right? Yeah. We have to make money. And so if you really want to make money in this business, it's not wearing sweatpants and training clients in the gym all day. You're not going to make that much money.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's about like kind of like what you're doing. You're growing your business with more coaches. But learning the skills of sales and the psychology behind people and how to speak to people is where you're going to make the most money.
Yeah.
Where you meet somebody, they're going to hand you 15 grand within an hour and go, here you go. I'm ready for you.
Yep.
Right. I'm excited. And they're actually thanking you as they give you their credit card. Right.
Yep. Really.
And so if you know sales, and especially if you're so, when I know my system works, it's hard to be excited about something if you know it's shit.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, take this pill, even though you know it's garbage. They're probably going to see right through. I really think that. Right?
Yeah.
When I truly know I've helped thousands of people change their life, you're confident in not only presenting prices, but you're confident in showing them how I can change your life. Like I'm so excited about it,
Yeah.
And so when you can do that, when you're so confident about your product that you're providing and you know it can change their life because you've seen it happen 1,000 times, you're confident in not only presenting prices and just knowing you can change their life. So I think just learning sales and learning the psychology of humans really will help you grow in this business.
Yeah.
Right. And if you can really get them on your side to let them know like, hey, I can change your life, because some people are just stingy. They don't want, they want to hold on to their money. They don't want to pay for a coach. But once I get you to pay me, I can show you now, in 4 weeks, you don't even care about that money anymore.
Yep.
You're so excited with the results you're getting. And so it's just that initial like, hey, invest in yourself and we will change your life.
Well, and it's so funny because this is, I mean, I always bring it up in our sales trainings, but people like, it's so ingrained in us to think a few $1,000s is a lot, right? Especially as fitness coaches, right? Like maybe in real estate, it's a little bit different because you're dealing with hundreds of thousands, maybe like millions of dollars. Yeah. But like you ask somebody for a few $1,000s as a fitness coach and they're like, oh, that's so expensive. And it's like, not really. Like you're going to hop in your $100,000 car and you're going to drive home and the $100,000 car doesn't do shit for your life. Like it doesn't do anything. If you're 30% body fat plus, it doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
So, but you won't spend a tenth of that investing into yourself. Right. So it's so interesting how different industries are different like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I've actually found that when a few $1,000s means a lot to somebody and they do make that payment, they're willing to, because I have some clients that, they'll throw me their black card for 20 grand. It doesn't even phase them, right? And sometimes those people when money's not an issue, if they don't follow the program, they're not really out anything. 20 grand, 15 grand to them is nothing.
Yeah.
But someone that actually $3,000 means a lot to, they're really going to, I had a client last year, and he's signed with me 4 or 5 times now. He left to go get cash to pay me. He goes, I'll just go to my bank and give you cash. It was like 4 grand or something. It was a lot of money to this guy. I can tell he just didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I felt really bad. I really wanted to help him, so I even gave him a discount. On his way to the bank, his car blew up. His car, the engine blew up. He sends me a picture of him on the side of the road in front of his car, just in flames. I'm thinking, this guy's not going to come back and pay me now. Dude takes an Uber back to my office with cash in hand and pays me. That right there, I knew he would be successful. Now he's down 80 pounds in a year. That was last year.
When the crazy part is it's all intertwined, right? Family, fitness, finance, faith. Those are the 4 things that I preach really heavily on this podcast. I mean, it's a big thing in, any personal development industry. But a lot of the time when somebody makes a bet like that on themselves, it's crazy. And I've done it multiple times, right? I've worked with lots of different coaches, and business is the same thing. Every time you pay for something big, it's but am I going to get a return on this, right? What does that look like? But with fitness, it's interesting because there's not necessarily a direct correlation, right? It's not like investing in the S&P 500 where you put 100,000 in and you get 10,000 back in a year.
Yeah.
Right. But, you can tell they show up differently at work or, whatever it is. You start to believe in yourself, you start to have confidence. And then, the crazy part is there may not be a tangibility of a return on your investment, but at the same time, it's exponentially, you know what I mean?
Well, ROI is not always physical.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and I always ask people all the time, if you went to the gym every day and you felt better mentally, right? But you never changed, you never lost weight, you never looked different, but you just felt better mentally, would you still go? And most people would say, yeah. There's a few people that would say, no, I wouldn't go because I want to look better with my clothes off. But most people would go. So ROI is not always physical, right? And you as a coach, you should be letting these people know the physical portion comes later. I want to change you from the inside out, right? Let's get you healthy internally first, and then the external will come. Right? Those matters the most. And that's if you can focus on that with your coaches.
I think that's what we're selling is confidence. In all reality, especially where we target more men in a younger demographic, at the end of the day, the main thing they get is being comfortable in their own skin. And if they're business professionals, the dude that walks into the room and is comfortable in his own skin, that dude's got a different presence than the dude that, is really self-conscious. So I always try to say, when I'm setting people's goals, I'll dig in, why do you want that goal? And it seems like 9 times out of 10, it always, and if not 10 times out of 10, it always comes back to confidence.
Dude, I was just on a podcast 2 weeks ago, and I posted on my Instagram. Go watch it. It's exactly word for word what you just said.
Oh, that's so funny.
Swear, dude, that is so funny you said that.
Homework. No,
yeah, right. You stalked my Instagram. I was literally talking about the number one reason men will hire me. Not really women, men. I mean, women too, but men. Confidence.
Yeah.
100%. You want to lose 30 pounds. Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I've learned, tell me more about that. Those 5 words can make you a lot of money and change a lot of lives. Right. Tell me more about that. Let them dive into it. Right. I want to lose 30 pounds. Tell me more about that. Right. Let them jump into it. And it's usually confidence.
Every time.
Right. With men, especially. So it's funny that you said that. I love it.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's interesting because clients will always give you that so what do you want to do? Oh, I want to get fit. And then
Going
it's
on vacation.
well, yeah.
I want to lose 30 pounds.
But then it's well, why? What's, tell me more about that. And
it's fun to dig
you
in.
actually get to it. And I think I've seen it a few times in your office where at times you get a few tell me more about that's in and they're crying, and then you present and I've actually had it happen too, which is kind of crazy now that I think back. But then you solve their problem, right? And by the end, it's they're stoked to sign up, and 6 months later, once they've lost the weight and stuff, they're a completely different person.
Of course. You've been in my office with sales. You've seen me close some deals.
Oh, yeah.
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 So
it's, it just brings, for the fitness coaches and stuff out there, go shadow this guy. It brings a whole nother level of appreciation to what we do. Because I think it's so good mentors are kind of hard to come by in this space, right? Because it's like how do I even say it? It's just a different
Don't hold back, dude.
type of industry.
Don't hold back.
Yeah. So
This is your podcast. Say whatever you want.
well, my point being is it's just a different type of industry, right? And so with what I was saying is like everybody plays this game of saving money and being the cheapest person, right? So it's like, how do you find those people who actually make more money and make more of an impact? And, anyways, but that's one thing that I've truly found, like with you, which is really cool. And then I've been able to, you remember back when I actually quit my 9-to-5 in finance. I was working at Lendio up here, which was a really good job. Like it was, best job I had ever had by far. But I quit this job, and my, like kind of the reason why I was able to justify it was like, okay, I'm going to have this free time now between 9 to 5. Like I have to go shadow Mike or somebody in the industry and do something to learn what it's going to take, because I'm jumping off this cliff and there's no going back.
Yep.
Like I'm either
There's
doing
no plan
this,
B.
yeah. And I live in Price, or my parents live in Price. So I'm from Price, obviously.
Yeah.
But, and I basically gave myself two options. Like I moved back to my parents' basement at 26 years old and just realize that I'm a loser and I'm going to go like back to what everybody else is
Just
doing.
accept it, right? Yeah.
And accept that I tried and failed, and like at least I tried, maybe, or I'm going to figure it out, right? And that was the time. That's when I brought on James, Blake, and then we gave it like what, 6-8 months?
About 6 months, I think.
Yeah, and then started bringing on more coaches, and we've grown. Like we doubled that year and then 10x last year. So we've continued to just grow like crazy since then.
I just remember seeing you at that gym. I remember I was leaving that gym one time and you were just sitting there waiting for clients. And I was like, dude, why are you sitting here waiting on clients?
Yeah.
Like you should be telling them when you want them to come in, not the other way around, right? You want to work around some clients' schedules, but when I schedule my clients, I have my calendar and I'm telling them when I have openings.
Yeah.
Right? When you go to a dentist, they're not like, hey, what time you want to come in? No, they tell you when you're coming in, right? For the most part, they'll give you options.
Yep.
I remember you sitting there just like, just waiting for clients. And I'm like, dude, this is not how you're just wasting time right now.
Yep.
Remember that conversation?
Yep. Well, I think
that was probably what, 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, that was right around that time.
Yeah.
That was the moment the 9 to 5 mindset died. Right? It was like, I can't just like, I'm not making an hourly. So like
just waiting around, just like waiting on clients. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think for me, it was like, maybe I just didn't know what to do.
Of course.
And obviously
it's lack of knowledge, lack of guidance.
Yeah.
Like people.
And as a fitness coach, it's easy to let people push you around. I think that's a big thing. Cause like I said, they've like people subconsciously kind of value this industry a little bit less than all the others, which it's going to change really quickly with everything going on in the world now, which is cool. But my point being that, people see this as like cheaper, right? So then they're like, well, I can come in at this time. You need to work with me. And like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's less of a privilege and more of a obligation.
Yep.
Right. And that's where like as a fitness coach, it's easy to not understand your worth, especially being young, and just be like, yeah, I'm open all the time. So like, you just tell me when, and I'll be there.
You never want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Right. And we've all were that guy.
Yeah.
I was going into my office when I was working for my mentor, and I hate mornings, dude. I was going at 7:30 in the morning to see clients, driving all the way to Sandy from my place out in West Jordan at the time. But I was going to see clients. I remember one client's like, I can only do 7:30 in the morning. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yep.
Dude, what?
You're so excited.
Right? I was just so excited to get paid from a client. And so we've all been there. It's not like I was, nope, I'm not doing that. We've all been there.
Dude, my first clients, I was meeting them at the gym at 5 a.m.
Oh, dude.
Once a week
Not worth
for
it.
$100
Right?
a month.
Yep.
And I was
Isn't that
psyched.
crazy? I know.
I was psyched.
Yeah,
You know
so
what I
we've
mean?
all been there.
Yeah, it's everyone. Yeah, exactly.
But once you know your worth, and once, I always tell people, work with the 1%, not the 99%.
Yeah.
Be the coach that says, no, actually, I'm going to interview you
Yeah.
so I can see if it's a good fit for both of us.
Well, and one really good rule of thumb is like you need to, and this is Hermosi, but he's like, tell people your constraints, right? Like you can't just work with everyone, right? Like if 1,000 people came to you tomorrow, you can't just take all of them, right? So the best thing that you could possibly do as a fitness coach is set a number, right? Like 30 clients, right? I only ever work with 30 clients. I only work between these hours. And when you tell somebody that, at the end, they see way more value because they want one of those 30 spots, as opposed to just being like, yeah, show up whenever, I take everyone.
No, it's a FOMO method,
You know?
right? It's
Yeah.
I only got 3 spots left type method.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, when you tell people, hey, I'm actually going to interview you and let you know, because I have limited spots as well. Everyone says that, but at the same time, let the people know that I don't take anybody.
Yeah.
Once they realize that, I've told that people to their face sitting in my office. Maybe you've been in some of my sales where I'm just like, listen, I'm not trying to sell you on why you need to be healthier. Right? When people know you're not trying to sell them, they're more willing to listen.
Yep.
Right? They go from this to more opened and engaged, leaning forward in my office. When I go, hey, just straight off the bat, I'm not trying to sell you on this program. Just so you know, this might not even be a good fit. We might not be able to work together.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not trying to sell you. If I'm trying to sell you on why you need to be healthier and fitter, this is not going to work. If I want it more than you, it's not going to work. Right? And so once you show people you're not the salesman and you're actually interviewing them, they're a little more open.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is I was just talking to one of our trainers, Kyler, and he was like, because we got door-to-door con this weekend. He's like, so what am I supposed to do at door-to-door con? Like, just go start pitching people? And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Anyways, and then I ended up following up with what you just said. Like, if you go shadow Mike Manfre at some point, and I was like, he has this point, and I don't know if it's a script or if you just have it down. But I said that word for word. Like, I shouldn't have to sell you on why you should be healthy. You should already be sold on that.
Yep.
Right. And when you say that to people, it's like the craziest thing, but it's kind of funny.
It unlocks them from being, this guy's a salesman to, I really want to work with this guy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not 100%, not every single person you say that to is going to be like, yeah, here's my credit card.
Yeah.
But the people that don't want to say, here's my credit card, I want to sign up, I'm ready to invest in myself, I don't want them as a client anyway.
Yep.
Again, we're not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. That's why I personally charge consultation fees.
Yeah.
Right. If $200, because before someone comes to my office, it's like, hey, it's $199 for a consultation fee. And 95% of people have been like, oh, cool. Right. Either they don't do it, and that's an easy, I weed them out.
Yeah.
Or here's $199 through Venmo, and it's basically saying I don't want to attract free people.
Yeah.
Because if I'm attracting free people, I'm going to get those type of people that I don't want. Right. Yeah. And so that's why I charge consultation fees. If $200 is going to scare you, then it's going to be $5,000 or whatever it's going to be is going to scare you also.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been wrong where, someone was scared of a consultation fee and they still came in. I don't know what happened, but they still signed up. But most of the time, it's a good way to weed people out. I've had people come in and go, when you said you charge a consultation fee, I figured you were more legit than you just have all the time in the world. Right.
That's crazy.
And so, sometimes just show your value and know that you're the shit, dude, what you do.
Yeah.
I
think ultimately it's pushy versus presence, right? Because you can be that pushy salesman, but the problem is we're so conditioned to seeing ads nowadays. The statistics, you see 20,000 ads in a day or something, crazy like that.
And again, I don't want to sell somebody because if I have to sell you and if I sell you on that and you do pay me with your credit card or whatever, you pay me.
Yeah.
Well, two things are going to happen. Either you're not going to follow the plan, right? And you're out all that money, which I don't want a one-time fee. I've had clients pay me and after a month they're gone, dude, because I don't know if I sold them on that or they just felt pressured, but after a month they're gone. And it's like, oh, you got paid for nothing. I don't want that. Yeah. I do not want a one-time fee. I want you to change your life and send me 5 of your friends.
Yep.
That's what I really want, right? And so a one-time fee, I'm not about. I don't want that.
Yeah.
And so if you do pressure somebody or really sell them on your program, you're probably not going to get the best response from them as far as.
Yep. Well, and you get labeled you get the label of being all about money.
Well, and people
right?
can
and that's
smell door-to-door salesman.
Yeah.
When the door-to-door guy comes to your door and he's practicing the script that he's read 100 times. He's like, yeah, you probably heard of us. We're treating all your neighbors, whoever.
Get off my doorstep.
Yeah. We've been trying to, because I train a lot of our coaches on the sales process. That's my favorite part of the process. But they have to see, and Dylan's talked about this with you in your consultations and stuff, why Mike Manfre? And they're like, it's his energy, it's his passion. That's what they say every time. That's what they're buying. That's the payment and the sales part. That's just secondary. Yep. You know what I mean? They're seeing that you're more passionate about their goals than they even are.
Yep.
And that's what they're paying for.
And that's why I've had people go, hey, so the difference between you and this coach Tom, what's the difference? Probably nothing. We all kind of preach the same stuff. We're not inventing new foods.
Yeah.
You pick me over somebody else or vice versa is their vibe and how you feel with them.
Yeah.
right? We're all not everyone's cup of tea. So I might be too loud for somebody, and so you might want to go to somebody that's a little more quiet. But you hire me for me, not the systems, not the software, right? We all kind of have this similar advice, right? For the most part, we're preaching kind of the same stuff. And so when someone says that to me, I just go, just whoever you vibe with. If we don't vibe, then I wouldn't want to hire a coach I don't vibe with.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's really just energy and all that stuff. And again, it's knowing your audience. Who am I speaking to? My client that's 70, I speak to her different than my client that's 20.
Yep.
Right. And some people, they don't have that, they know how to speak to some people. I have friends, they speak to the same person. They speak to my mom like they speak to me. I'm like, no, dude, it's different. Right. The old lady that comes to my office, I'm like, hey, sweetie, how you doing? What's going on? Let's focus on longevity and let's get you going. If I said that to my 20-year-old, he'd be like, bro, you're weird.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? 20-year-old, we're talking about getting shredded and all this stuff and all this cool stuff. So knowing the people you're speaking to in your audience is really what's going to set you apart, right? And what to focus on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that just comes with the social aspect, right? Of like actually having some type of pressure to be able to like perform, right? Whereas like the 9-to-5 people, it's like, not that they don't, but at the same time, it's like they're still getting a check whether people like them or not.
Yeah, that's the thing with our job. If we don't go out and make the money, we don't eat.
People got to know, like, and trust you. And if you can't do those 3 things, then, you don't eat. So. And
that comes with when you are a coach, a lot of people that I mentor, I'm like, dude, what's your social media look like? I had a person the other day. He's like, yeah, I want to be a coach like you. I'm starting to coach already. And I looked at his social media. I'm like, there's a picture of a cat and your car.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your life,
like,
dude?
Bro.
Oh, you went skiing 10 years ago. Cool.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, dude, you look weird online. Like, you got to get yourself out there and put yourself out there and talk to your people, right? Yep. You can't just have workout videos for every post, but you don't want to have a balance.
Yep.
Right? I'll post my kids and I'll post. But for the most part, 80% of your content should be towards your niche of who you're trying to attract.
Yep. Exactly.
Right. And I'm posting 10 times a day on as far as stories go. Just be relevant. Dude, stories are free.
Yep.
Post as much as you possibly can. And I post all the time.
Dude.
Here's a screenshot. Hey, I lost 3 pounds this week. It doesn't have to be an end result. Dude, this client lost 3 pounds this week. Her first 7 days or whatever. You keep posting like that and you're going to be relevant on people. Like, oh, Mike has another result. And eventually after a year, they're like, okay, I'm going to call this dude.
Yep.
Right. It's just being relevant to people when it comes to social media.
Well, I don't think people fully, even now understand that. Like, social media is free marketing. Like,
it's so powerful.
Dude, I've gained a whole new appreciation after that, or for that, since we've started running ads and stuff. Cause it's like, now you're putting money into it and stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, like at what point, because the first kind of step of running ads is like, you got to waste some money, and then after that, it's like, okay, well, how can we tweak it so we waste less?
Yeah.
And then you tweak it again and you're like, okay, how do I tweak it so that I hit 0?
Yeah. Breaking even is actually not the worst case scenario. Right?
Yeah. And then eventually you get to that point where you have like the authority in the industry and then your ads are cranking, but it just takes a lot of time. And so what people don't understand is like, you can post a TikTok and get 5 million views and have, and turn that into money, which is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? But it comes back to that mentality of doing more than you're paid for, right? And I feel like ultimately that's what separates successful entrepreneurs from everyone else, is just simply committing to the daily tasks that that are going to move the needle forward, whether or not you get paid for them.
Yeah. I know some influencers though that are fitness guys that don't make that much money.
Yeah.
Like they have 1 million views, but none of that translated to money.
Yeah.
It looks cool. Like I got 1 million views, but you didn't make any money on that at all.
Yep. Well,
you didn't even acquire one person, one client.
Yeah. It's got to be a mixture of the two. Like it's got to be a mixture of like business knowledge and exposure. Right. And if you look at Alex Hormozi, the dude's a freaking prime example of that. If anything, he had success in business before, and then he cultivated his, following towards that. And if you like, his journey is just absolutely insane. But yeah, like you get a lot of those people where they've got 1 million followers on TikTok and it's like, but nobody wants to give them $1. Like,
yep.
So
I think people don't realize it's free analytics too.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about different strategies with Instagram and stuff. If, like you say, you're posting your stories, those stories are free to post. They can be completely random things. Like my wife just started coaching. Like she's coached for years in person, kind of similar to what you were
fitness?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so she just started with our sister company, Balance Babes. And she's run a photography company for years, so she knows how to market and do stuff. But she's posting all these stories tons of times a day, and all she does is look, and she sees, okay, these are the people that are following what I'm doing on a daily basis. She DMs them, and then they're like, oh my gosh, it's so funny that you DM'd me. I've been wanting to reach out, but they just never have actually thought to reach out.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But she's gotten 7 clients in the last literally 9-10 days.
Yeah.
Something
And
like
she's
that.
like brand new.
Brand new. Been doing it for like a month. And she knows her stuff, but it's the fact that she's consistently doing it. It shows that if you are consistent, you can get results really quick. Pretty, within a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's way cool.
Yeah.
That's way cool.
It is crazy.
It's just learning how to use it properly.
Yeah, they actually kill it. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like as crazy as that is, like girls just kind of get the social media aspect of it a lot easier. Guys are like weird about that
guys
stuff.
are like, why are you posting your salad, dude?
Dudes are almost like a lot of guys, and it's funny because I've ran into this mindset a lot, but it's just like subconscious limiting beliefs. But guys take pride in bad things. Like people will be like, well, why do you post on social media? I don't do that. I don't even have social media. And it's like, well, congratulations. You just bought yourself a one-way ticket to making an hourly wage for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know, like this is how you get out of like the matrix, this is how you break free of that situation. So if you actually want to be an entrepreneur and, make moves in the world and be able to make a change, you need some type of you need some type of exposure, right? Like that's just how it is, right? Like Elon, bro, like nobody even knew who Elon was until like freaking 2020?
No, he buys Twitter.
Yeah, buys Twitter, goes on Joe Rogan, smokes weed live, gains a ton of following, like gains a huge following. 5 years later, richest dude in the world. Yeah. It's just like
that's why people that I mentor, I'm like, show me your socials, dude.
Yeah.
Before we even get started, there's a guy, I'm a 20-year-old kid. He wants me to start mentoring him. I'm like, dude, show me your Instagram. Yeah. Nothing. I'm telling you, it's like stupid stuff. It's a picture of a roller coaster, bro. What are you doing? Like, what?
Come on.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, show me your
today.
social media, and you've got to start posting every damn day. Yeah. Right.
You have all this opportunity, and you're not taking it.
Yeah. This is the new age is social media. That's how people make money.
Yep. Exactly. Well, cool. So one of the things that I wanted to highlight today was like with Sovereign Lifestyle. Over the last little bit, I've had to get obviously we've started running ads and stuff. So with that being said, there were a few questions my ads guy helped me dive deep into that I think solved a lot for us, because it's kind of like we started going and growing as fast as possible, but there was no framework in place, right? So what we did was we implemented the fitness framework, which was given to me by another one of my mentors, Doug Grant. He's also my father-in-law. He was a nutritionist for the Phoenix
You tell me
Suns.
that. Yeah.
Dude's a
good guy to know,
bro.
Good guy to know.
Good guy to know indeed.
Yeah.
Good picking a wife.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Well, she also she owns Balance Babes. So
who owns Balance Babes?
my wife. Yeah.
Power couple.
Bro.
So they've got
Good find.
Yeah, they've got 5-6 trainers now, but they
That's a good name, but I like that.
dude,
name.
they kill it.
They're cranking though.
that's cool.
Every one of the trainers is a lot of output.
I think
It's so much easier when you're a female, bro. If I was
Bro,
a
it's just
hot
them
blonde
heat
chick,
pics in the mirror, dude.
Dude.
Well,
dude,
wants it.
you think I'm doing good now? If I was a hot blonde chick, I'm telling you.
and not only that, but at the same time, girls, it's just weird. Like girls are more willing to work with girls, whereas guys, it's like, dude, it's ego. Like you can.
Yeah, guys have pride, man. I want to hire this guy to tell me what to do. I have a lot of my women clients. I'm like, hey, get your husband in here. Oh, he doesn't need it. I'm like, no, I've seen him. He needs it.
He watches.
Get him in here. Get him in here.
Yeah.
It's just easier if you're a female.
Yeah. The first thing that a guy, most guys do when you give them any advice is screw you. You don't know. And it's like, well, yeah, if I'm a few steps ahead of you, I know more than you. So sorry, but
Especially if you're fit. It's like telling a guy who gets out of a Lamborghini, you know how to make money.
Yeah.
Of course he knows how to make money if he's, wealthy.
Yeah.
Right, for the most part. Same with your body. If you look really fit, how are you going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, to go back to the question, it was we implemented what is called the fitness framework, right? Focused, intense thought, right? So the mindset aspect of it, nutrition, exercise, specific supplementation, right? And that's how we do everything from now on, which one gives us a structure to everything we do, but two allows us to be more marketable, right? It gives us an actual system to answer the questions that people have, right? Because you could say like, oh, I'm a nutritionist, but it's like, what do you do that's different?
Yeah.
Right. So we implemented that. But with that being said, like with Evolve Culture, what are some of the things that you have included that you feel like is a good framework for working with clients?
What do you mean?
Like, is there a specific framework that you follow at all, or is it just kind of like?
I mean, what I really follow is finding out what's going to work for each individual person.
Yeah.
Right. I shot a person today on Instagram. She's like, so is it like a cookie cutter program? She lives in like Florida. I'm like, so if it was, but I said no, would you still hire me? Like, what kind of question is that? Right.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was cookie cutter, I'd be like, no, it's for sure it's not. But really, I mean, what sets my company apart from a lot of people is there's a lot of coaches out there right now just giving out macros.
Yep.
50, 30, 20, here you go. What am I supposed to do with that? Right. And so it's just a matter of finding out what's going to work for Dylan. If you're my client, let's talk about your lifestyle. What do you do for work? How active are you? What's your goals? If you can just personalize it to each individual person, that's what matters the most. Right. And so that's really what I have found that has worked for me, is just individualizing it for each person, finding what's going to fit their lifestyle. Because there's coaches out there like, we don't like cottage cheese, you got to eat anyway, it's healthy. Who's going to follow that long term? They're just not, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously we focus on, I had like 5 key points where it's like movement, accountability, nutrition, execution. Again, if I give you all the tools but you don't execute it, I provide a hand-holding approach. Like, I'll help you through the process, but you have to eat the foods. I can't go to your house and cook them. I can't eat it for you. You have to execute it or it will not work. It's just more knowledge in your mind, right? And so that's what I have found works for me, is just making sure you find what works for each individual person.
Yeah.
What do you like? What don't you like? What's your lifestyle like? What's your goals? And then setting out clear expectations. Your goal is muscle gain. You're not going to gain 5 pounds of muscle in a week.
Yep.
Right? So if you, from the start of hiring somebody, they hire you setting boundaries and setting expectations. This is not lose 5 pounds a week program, right? Let them know off the bat. This is lose 1 pound of fat a week, right? This is gain a half pound of muscle in a week or 2 weeks. Like, it's a slow, healthy process. Because after 2 months, you're like, I thought I was going to be down 30 pounds because you didn't set expectations.
Yeah.
Right? Let people know this is only, and I always say this is 1% of your body weight. If you weigh 200 pounds, you can lose 2 pounds of fat in a week. That's it. You can't lose 2 pounds of fat a week if you weigh 142.
Yeah.
Right? So just setting boundaries, which is more important than anything else as a coach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's also like, I mean, I haven't, I don't know, now that you say it, I think that's one of the things that has helped me a lot over the last couple of years is just expectations.
It's huge.
Right? Like, you can't just mold your program to every single person. It needs to be very strict and like being real with people.
Yeah. And
right?
I tell people, listen, there's only so many healthy foods. Eventually you're going to duplicate foods.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be on the same cracker again and the same cereal and the same white rice. Like, there's only so many healthy options.
Yeah.
I had a client the other day, she wanted a new meal plan every day. A completely new meal plan every day for 7 days. I'm like, we're going to run out of foods and by day 10, right? There's only so many healthy options.
Yep.
Right? And so if you set expectations like, hey, this is how it's going to be, this is how much you're going to lose, this is what the meal plans look like. You're setting them up before they even pay you and sign up. Here's the expectations. Do you want to ride or not?
Yeah.
Right. And that's what matters the most, as I think, as a coach.
It's like bringing on a competitor and saying you're going to win your first show. You know what I mean? Like, if you tell them that, they're going to have a horrible experience.
Yeah, of course.
Their first year. Like, I remember my first year competing, I got hyped up a lot. I was super pumped. And I was like, I'm going to sweep. I think I got 7th my first show.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It's an
And then
eye-opener.
kept going. Finally, 3 years later, you know what I mean? But now, when I bring a competitor on and they're like, yeah, I really want to win a show. I'm like, let's get you on stage first. Let's like get you stage conditioning first.
And
There's
it comes down
steps
to,
this.
hey, how much weight can I lose in 7 days or a month? People ask me that every day. How much weight do you think I can lose? Well, how much do you weigh? How strict do you want to be? Right? Are you going to be a 10 every day or a 3 every day?
Yeah.
Right? As far as eating, how many cheat meals? Once you throw all these questions back to them, then just giving them a generic answer, they're going to respect you a lot more. When you go, well, how strict do you want to be? Right? How many days a week do you want to work out? Because I have people, they want to lose the maximum results, but they want to work out once a week.
Yeah.
And they want to eat 4 cheat meals a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not going to be the maximum results, dude. Right? So setting expectations will make your life as a coach a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Realistic expectations, and they'll respect you more for it. They're just going, no, you'll lose 20 pounds in a month. Because when that doesn't happen,
then
You're
it's
the bad guy now.
Then it's all on you.
100%. And now they're going to go leave you a bad review and everything else. There's a reason I've never had one bad review, and I have 365 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
Anybody can go on Google. I tell everybody all the time, these are really good reviews. Are these fake? Well, no, because if you go leave me a bad review tomorrow, I can't take it off. That's the whole point of Google. So if you say, hey, Mike sucks, 1 star, I can't go to Google and delete that.
Yep. It's on there.
So when I've been able to get so many 5-star reviews with 0 negative ones is because I'm setting expectations. No one's ever said, hey, your program sucks because you told me I lose 30 pounds in a month. It's never happened. Or you guaranteed results.
Yeah.
Right?
Overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah, never do that. Just go, hey, this is what the average person is going to lose, which you could lose. But just set expectations, you as a coach.
Yeah.
I think that's what will set you apart from a lot of people. I mean, I have clients, I just had this couple hire me that is their old coach was someone that I know really, really well. And after 7 days, they're like, I can't even believe the difference between you and this other coach. I thought he was a good coach.
Yeah.
And maybe he still is. But it's just funny to hear someone that you know as a coach, and I don't know how they run their program, but it's day and night with me. And maybe someone's left me and said, hey, Mike sucks and it's better with you. But it's just funny. Not all coaches are doing what I think they should be doing.
Yeah.
Is setting those boundaries and expectations. Like you would assume like, oh, that's a given.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do it.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people just don't take the time, right?
They don't take the time because they're after a credit card. They're after money versus a result.
Well, and it's always that mentality of like charging less, right? And when you charge less, you also have to give less, right? Because you have to service more clients to make ends meet. So you need to switch from that scarcity mindset to more abundance, where it's like, I only work with specific people, and then every single person that I do work with, like, yeah, you charge more, but at the same time, you're asking those more in-depth questions and setting the expectations and making sure that it's more tailored to them.
Well, I've even asked people, they go, oh, you're always gonna get clients that go, oh, that's kind of expensive, right? You get that all the time. I get that all the time. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll charge you half. I'm gonna give you half my effort. Would you be cool with that? You think they say yes? No.
Nope.
Next time somebody says that, go, I'll charge you half. I'm gonna give you half my effort. Are you cool with that? See what they say. Because most of them are gonna go, yeah, that's cool. Because if they do that, I'm like, cool, let's run it. But most people want your full effort for half the price.
Thing is, though, at half the price, that you'll get half their effort too. Like if they're not bought in, like if you're not both bought in, they're not going to do it.
Dude, cheaper clients, and you've seen this on people that have, it's like, hey, $500 client, hey, your program sucks. I was not expecting this. $10,000 client, hey, money sent. I love this. Like the cheaper ones, again, this is why you don't attract free people and cheap clients. I don't want them, right? I want people that are willing to invest in themselves. And usually people that are like that, the program's a lot easier than cheaper folks.
Well, and what's really interesting, and this is another key topic that I've been talking about with our guys, is like, I've actually tracked the statistics for the last year and a half of our consultations, right? And we have both a competitor program that's a little bit cheaper because it's a lot of younger dudes.
Sure.
And then we have our actual elite coaching, which is for
lifestyle type
type stuff.
Which is going to make most of your money.
Yeah. But the funny part about this is I was looking at it the other day, and statistically, I actually close higher at the higher price.
Of course.
Like, that's the crazy part. And that's where all my money comes from. So what people, and the default mindset is always the cheaper it is, the easier it is to sell. And it's like, but not really. Like, statistically speaking, I've closed more upfronts, higher ticket stuff than our little monthly competitors. So,
well, it's like, would you rather have 10 clients that pay you $1,000 or one client that pays you $10,000?
Yeah.
The other thing, though, that you've also tracked that goes right along with that, you can look at all the names of the people that were under like $500 a month from when we first started out, and you can correlate that directly to their transformation. So you can see literally like all the high ticket, good results every time. There's not a single outlier. Like, everyone's dialed. Anyone that's under that, hit or miss. Most of them,
kind of sporadic.
They don't get the results they want, or go ahead.
I'm a statistics nerd. Like, I like to collect data. I don't know. I'm actually working on transitioning to more of a marketing role in Sovereign Lifestyle. So I love collecting that type of stuff. So anyways, to go along with that, I even took it one step farther, and I looked at every payment we've accepted over the last year and a half. And then I figured out what the average was. And then I drew that line above and below the average, right? So the people above the list were always the ones with the good transformations, Google reviews, you know what I mean? And referrals, that's where everything's coming from. And everybody below us, or below the average, is like, those people who just don't really care. But the funny part about that is everybody is like, well, that's expensive. Can you give me a discount? And it's like, and I've told this to people, no, because you are investing in yourself. You're not like, yes, you're investing in me a little bit, but primarily you're investing in yourself. And until you invest in yourself, I can't invest in you.
Well, did you go to the iPhone store and get a discount on your iPhone?
Nope.
Probably not.
Yep.
So what is my business any different than you going to Apple and buying an iPhone?
Yeah.
Right. This is not a garage sale.
Yep.
Right. Like I provide extremely high value for my clients, and I'm not, now there's clients where I'm like, listen, dude, like I have given people discounts where I'm like, I just, I think you truly need help and I would love to help you and let's figure something out. Right. I don't ever say, hey, no discount, get out of my office. It's, there is some gray in there.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, people pay full price for Jordans and iPhones. So you can pay full price for my program. Right.
Yep. And you're going to hop in your $50,000 car and like,
Yep. And I've had people pull up in really, really expensive cars and see $5,000 as like $1 million.
Yeah.
When I've had people pull up in a truck that barely made it to my office and they paid $12,000. Yeah. So it's funny how you can see what people hold value to, right, as far as their health. Mm-hmm. And again, you're not that person to sell them on that, So with you, if you guys start, you're mentoring a lot of people, but mentoring coaches, that's the first thing you should be telling them. Don't sell them on anything. Yeah. Provide value and show them there's a solution to your problem, and here's how I can fix it, and here's the guidelines and the blueprint. But if I want it more than you, it's not going to work. Yeah. I've been more excited in my office sometimes than people. I'm like, dude, I'm more hyped than you are. And you're the one with 40% body fat.
Yep.
I don't understand. Right. And usually those people that fail.
Yeah. 100%. One question I did want to ask was, what advice would you give somebody that was looking to make that jump from, 9 to 5 mm-hmm. to starting a business, getting to, where you are now, that would potentially help speed up the process? Right. And I guess this whole podcast has been like pretty in-depth, fitness industry type stuff. But if there was a place to start or something that you feel like you could tell yourself at 27 that mm-hmm. Now, what would it be?
Well, it's always going to go back to finding someone that's doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And just being a sponge.
Yep.
Right. Don't do it on your own. No one's been really successful trying to figure it all on their own. Find someone that's doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you want to do, and hire them or shadow them, become a sponge around them.
Yeah.
It's always going to go back to that. I feel like that's the best advice I can give somebody. Don't try to do it on your own. Find someone that's doing what you want to do and just shadow them.
Yeah.
Right. And that goes for everybody. Most people that are successful, everyone that's successful, had a mentor, had someone show them the ropes of what to do.
Yep.
So I would say do that, and also just jump. If you're truly passionate, just jump. I waited actually too long because I had bills when I was in law enforcement. I remember my mentor saying, hey, dude, when are you going to be full-time here? Because I was trying to do both.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't just, unless you're going to pay me, which I'm glad he didn't, because when you pay somebody a paycheck, right, now it's different than being a
different deal.
It is. So I'm actually glad he didn't pay me.
Yeah.
But I remember him saying, hey, unless you're going to pay me, I can't just quit, dude. I got bills. Yeah. So unless I can make as much money as I am as in law enforcement. So shout out, if I didn't have him, mm-hmm. I don't know where I would be, honestly. Yeah. And maybe I would have found somebody eventually, but finding a mentor, I'm telling you, that'd be the best thing you ever do. And then just jump. Yeah. Trust in your abilities, right? If it's truly your passion and someone's successful, they're not better than you.
Yep.
It's just how it goes. They are not better than you. Someone that's rich right now is not better than someone that's poor.
Yep.
They just had a system.
They just may be a little bit more committed.
More committed and being consistent, right? There's were times where I made zero money for the month. I remember he'd give me a paycheck and it was like $800 for the whole month. This is after I quit law enforcement, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, $800 for the month? That's all the sales you made. All right, I guess I'll go back to putting a badge on. This sucks, right? Yeah. But I was just consistent and just kept doing it and not giving up.
Yeah.
So just the advice I would say is getting a mentor and just jump.
Yep.
Just be committed and jump and be consistent and give yourself a year or two of being consistent. You're not going to make a lot of money the first year.
Yep.
So that's what I would say.
Yeah. The first year is rough.
Yeah. First 5 years could be rough. First 3 years. But if I said, hey, if you grind for 5 years and you'll have a lot of money in the bank account and you'll be helping a lot of people or whatever you decide to do, most people would still be about that.
Yep.
Right.
But it's the same thing though. Like if you look at Elon or anyone, like Facebook is 25 years old. You know what I mean? And so we don't even think about how old it is. We all know it.
Is in 2000?
It's no, well,
I thought it was 2008.
It was pretty early.
yeah.
I thought it was like 2008.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
probably
15, 20
17.
years
Yeah.
old. Same thing with like Elon, right? He sold Zip2, went to PayPal, went to like Tesla started in the 2000s as well.
Yep.
So it just, I've found that there's this kind of buffer period in business where it's like, no matter, and there's not really a way around it other than maybe if you have like unlimited money and resources, but like most people don't. But it's just like the universe or people, they just test you, right? Like just to see if that's truly what you want. And so if you can just show up and just have faith in yourself and that it's going to work out, you know, that's what leads to the success. And it, you know, the more faith that you can have and the more you can believe in yourself in those dark times when nobody else does, the faster the process goes.
Well, the average age of a millionaire, I just looked it up, is 61 years old.
That's insane.
Think about that.
Yeah.
I was just curious. You're like,
Yeah.
why is this guy texting on my podcast? No, I was just curious. 'Cause I know that's the average age is 61 years old for a millionaire. Think about that.
Yeah.
Just a millionaire.
That's crazy.
So it's pretty easy. Not easy, but I mean, it's getting easier to become a millionaire these days.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, at the average age is 61
Yeah.
and you're a millionaire by 40, 30, 30 years old, 40 years old, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a millionaire with abs,
It's way
Doing
cooler.
even better.
you're really,
And a Lamborghini?
you're the top
No, I'm just
1%. If you're a millionaire and you have abs, you're the top 1% of humans.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just takes time, dude. It's people want this instant gratification in this new life, right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, if you want instant money, go do OnlyFans. Apart from that, you're not going to get instant money.
Foot finder, dude.
Right.
Works every
Foot
time. No, I'm just
finder.
kidding.
I know, right? So that's what I would say is literally just find a mentor and jump at 2 feet.
Yeah.
I just think that's, and people, again, coming back to confidence, people don't have the confidence in themselves
Yep.
to do it. They feel like, well, I talk to people all the time. They're like, well, how'd you get to the level you're at? Or I'm like, dude, it's just, you just got to jump and just be confident what you want to do. But it's knowing what you want to do too.
Yep.
Right.
Well, and being willing to suffer for it. Right? I think that's the thing is like, I always say this in the context of bodybuilding, because that's, you've seen some success, or I've seen some success there, but like, I've never been beat by the same dude twice. That's the funny thing. Never. Right. Meaning like every single person that I've ever competed against has quit. So therefore I won by default. I've been bodybuilding for 6 years now. And so I've gotten to the point where I'm like top 10. Well, I was 7th in the world for natural bodybuilding in 2023. Last time I competed. So with that being said, it's just like crazy to think, but most people will quit. Like that's just the reality of anything.
Yep.
And so if you can just have the mindset of I'm going to show up every day for 10 years and do that, you are by default, like if you actually follow through, you are by default the top 1%.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's just how it is, especially with fitness coaching. Because it's like, dude, fitness coaching is like, it's very similar to like real estate. Realtors all get in it and they're like, I'm going to be a rich realtor. And it's like, but dude, I got 5 realtors in my phone right now. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
oversaturated.
they're a
Well, it's
dime a
also
dozen.
the top 5% are doing 95% of the deals. So
Yeah.
it's super
That's
saturated.
crazy.
That's the legit
Yeah,
statistic.
that's wild.
So, and fitness is very similar. Like everybody, you look up anyone with abs, they'll be like,
Yep.
link in bio. You know what I mean?
Yep.
DM for coaching.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it's
I
the
think that's
same
why I
thing.
wanted to do bodybuilding shows. That's originally why I met my mentor. I wanted to do a bodybuilding show, but it takes a different level of person too. I've done 10 shows.
Oh yeah.
But the last show I ever did was when I won FitCon, the overall FitCon.
Yeah.
That was 2017.
Yeah.
So that was a long time ago.
Yeah. I think it also adds a whole nother component of social proof, right?
Yeah.
Because you're practicing what you preach.
Yeah,
at the
you just show
highest
people,
level.
listen, I've gotten to the level of 3% in winning shows. And, so there's no reason I can't get to 12%.
Yep.
Right. I think that's really helped my coaching as well when I started competing back in 2014. But
Yeah.
when I was competing, I was showing people, hey, listen, it's cool. I'm going to get like a little plastic trophy, but I'm doing it really to show you if I can get to 3% and win shows, I can get you to 15%, dude.
Yeah. You can get
Right?
10.
Like, yeah. And so I think I really did that more for, you do it for yourself to take your body to the next level, but I did it more for clients and just go, hey, listen, I can get to whatever level I got to, you can too.
Yep,
Right.
exactly. And that's another another thing that we've been trying to instill in our coaches, right? Is like, whatever you do, I don't care if you're a marathon runner or you freaking do powerlifting or whatever it is, do it at the highest level.
Just be the best.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and that was my thing with natural bodybuilding was like, I kind of made that choice of like, I don't want to hop on gear. So like, what's the next thing?
Yeah.
Right. And so I took it all the way to Natural Olympia, and I was able to, last time place 7th in the world. Hopefully I'll crack the top 5 pretty quick. But my point being, like, whatever it is, do it at the highest level, because you can only ever hold your clients to the same level of accountability that you hold yourself.
Yep.
So a lot of people are just like, well, I want to lose some fat as coaches. And it's like, how are you going to help somebody else if you don't even hold yourself to your goals that extreme?
And that's what I tell my clients. Like every time, dude, I'll be in my office telling them what to eat, and I'm like busting out all the stuff I put on their meal plan that I'm also eating. I'm like, dude, look, I'm living. Look, I'm eating this. I'm eating that. It's on your meal plan.
Yeah.
I'm living what I'm telling you to do.
Yeah.
So I know it works. Right.
That's actually awesome. I had
pretty good idea.
I put a That's It bar. I took those from you.
But
I had a client.
Those are fire.
He had That's It bars on his plan. Right. And I always do this. Because we're remote. Right. So I share my screen and I show them that I'm looking at all their statistics. And then this dude's like, those That's It bars, they're good. And I pulled one out from my fridge and I was like, yeah, dude, I got them right here in my office.
When you show people you're consuming the same food they're eating, people are way more willing to do it because they go, okay, this guy's fit. He's eating exactly what he's telling me to eat.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, try this. Have you tried it? No. It's like, well, they're probably not going to want to try it.
Well,
it's like being a car salesman at some car dealership. Do you drive one of these cars that you're selling? No.
Do you drive a Ford? No.
Yeah.
I drive a Chevy.
Yeah.
It's
the same concept. And so when you show people you're also living that life, right? It's a really big role. Now, on the flip side of that, someone that does have abs and looks really good doesn't mean they're going to be a good coach.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? It's just like, dude, I've had people hit me up like, hey, are you hiring? I want to coach under you. Dude. I'm like, bro, I know who you are. You belong in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah.
You're not good with people. You belong like put some headphones on, go like lift boxes. Like you don't belong around people.
Well, that's also
you're just not good.
The funniest thing about bodybuilding is, dude, you could be an Olympic level bodybuilder. Like you could be top in the world and not have the people skills to.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? Like like I've ran into tons and tons of people where that's the case, and it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of funny to me, but yeah,
they're very coachable though.
It's
very coachable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like Michael Jordan never made a good coach.
Yeah.
Right. So he can do it, but doesn't mean he can coach.
Yeah.
Right. That's the prime example. He's not the best coach of all time.
Yeah.
Right. Coaches that are the best of all time really didn't even play basketball that well.
Yeah.
Right? Phil Jackson wasn't that good of a basketball player.
Well, it's
was
like Hanny Rambod coaching.
Yeah.
Tons of
look
Olympic.
at him, dude. And
look at him.
He's the rare breed because I always tell people you should practice what you preach.
Yeah.
But he's a different level.
He's
right.
Yeah.
You've seen that dude at the store and you didn't know who he was.
You
like, what do you do for a living? I'm a trainer. You'd be like, okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Has like more
You would have
titles than
if no one knows who he was and he said he was a trainer, you'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure you are, bud. But yeah, so it goes both ways. Like you should practice what you preach, but at the same time, just because you do look really good does not make you a good coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It comes down to knowing people,
knowing
the psychology of humans and how to speak to people and what to target and what to focus on.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a balance of all of those things,
Yep.
right? Because I think having a great physique is a great asset, but is it everything?
Yeah.
Probably not.
It gets them through the door,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
Yeah.
If I got you through the door because of my physique and my Instagram and everything else, but then I'm an idiot when I speak and I have no clue what to focus on,
Yeah.
they're going to walk out without giving you money and without you changing their life.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Well, cool. So to bring it back to Evolve Culture, what do you feel like the future of Evolve Culture looks like over the next, 5-10 years?
It's a good question. I don't really think that far ahead, but I have a lot of friends like yourself and coaches that have a team of guys.
Yeah.
And I see a positive and a negative to that. I don't want to be a babysitter and have to babysit 15 coaches. I love going to work and just doing my own thing. And I've had coaches underneath me, but after a year, I kind of shown them the ropes and they kind of left.
Yeah.
Right. I've had a few coaches do that. It's hard to keep good coaches. And the reason why is because you bring someone on as and I did this with my old mentor. He had like 15 guys and it was awesome. We were all in the same office, but after a while, people start realizing I can probably do this on my own. I don't need to give you, I was giving my mentor 40%.
Yeah.
Right. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I would give him 80% when I first started. I'd be like, I'll give you my whole paycheck. Let me just hang out. But eventually people will move on. And so I don't know. I see both sides of it. I think having a bunch of trainers would be awesome because you're not only making a little bit of money off of each of them, but you're helping them grow, which is great.
Yeah.
And maybe someone that you can't help, maybe someone that doesn't like me, I might be able to push them to this guy. That's one of my coaches. It's a different vibe. Right. And that's why I mentor so many people. People are like, wow, I can't believe you're mentoring me. I'm like, dude, you're not stepping on my toes. There's so many people to go around. If I can't help somebody, but I've shown you what to do, you might be able to help that person.
Yeah.
Right. So I've never had that mindset of like, well, I don't want you. I'm not going to mentor you. I don't want you. Dude, when I won FitCon, I had 15 guys helping them pose, and 3 of them were in my class.
Dang.
Right. For FitCon.
Yeah.
I remember teaching them how to pose, how to hit poses. And I'm like, I'm teaching you guys how to beat me for the same show.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And I was like, if I don't win, I don't know why you guys are paying me.
Yeah. Well,
Thank God I won the show, but if I didn't win, I showed them how to beat me.
Yeah.
But that was my mindset. Like, let me just show you what I know.
Yep.
Right. That's always been my mindset, just to help people.
Yeah.
But yeah, in 5 years, I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's all just, that comes back to like the abundance mindset, right? Like one thing that Blake and I have kind of come to, because now he's a pro and we're actually competing in Tokyo in May together.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yo, that's so crazy.
Dude, yeah. We saw this show out there and we're like,
We're on
let's
prep
run
right
it.
now.
Are you?
Like first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Nice.
I always say you're not ever competing against anyone. You're competing with them,
Yeah.
right? Like, because that I feel like that just makes it a more fun opportunity. Like, we're both in Tokyo, we're both shredded. Like, regardless of the placings, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Like,
doesn't matter. It's just
gonna
the
be
experience.
sweet.
That's why
Yeah,
I coached people that I was training them how to beat me. I was helping them pose on how to hit men's physique poses that would ultimately maybe beat me. If they were standing next to me, if they didn't know how to pose, I'd smash them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but as far as 5 years, dude, I honestly don't know. You know, every year I do this longer. I'm like, I think I'm done after a year or two, and I'll sign someone up for a year or two. I sign someone up for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, now I'm I guess I gotta do this for 2 more years. So, and I'm always bringing on some coaches here and there underneath me, but yeah, I think online's the next step for me.
Yeah.
But I love in-person coaching. It's so old school, but I'm able to usually charge more for it. And I'm actually able to meet with them one-on-one in my office, taking their body fat. It's a different experience than being online. And so I love in-person coaching. But as I'm going along and I get more and more experience, I'm seeing less and less in person, but making more money.
Yeah.
Right? For the whole one $10,000 client versus 10 $1,000 clients. So
Yep.
my coaching is getting less in person, but I'm able to make more money and capitalize on that. But I think in person or online, I think will be the next step for me. It's just hard, dude.
Yeah.
Online's a different world.
Yeah. Well, and I
versus
do
in person.
love the way that, like, at one point I wanted to do it exactly like you, where like, you know, you have the embody and, you know, have them there with you in person, because it's really cool. It's like really in depth.
Yep.
I mean, we were able to figure out a way to do it, you know, pretty in depth for what online is. Actually, like really in depth for
We're
what
doing
online
blood
is.
work and custom supplementation and all that.
Yeah. So we partnered with Optimal Health Systems, which is my father-in-law's company, to provide a blood work panel that is 70 different markers in the blood, and we have access to that nationwide.
Yeah.
So it's like the coolest thing, because we include that in our program, and then we have them do that, and we actually show them their blood work better with
That's
time.
what I do with Prime Labs. You heard of Prime Labs?
Yeah.
We do the same thing. I do that now. It's for about 6 months now. It's like, hey, when you sign up with me, you get blood work already paid for.
Yeah.
You know, especially again with men. I want to know where your testosterone levels are at. Let's, you know, you want to put on a bunch of muscle, but your testosterone is 200. It might be a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, I send them to go get their blood work done as well. It's the first thing they do.
Yep.
Right. Again, in person. I have about 25 online clients.
Yeah.
But as far as their blood work, that's where I kind of fail. It's like, I don't, you know, the online space is still new to me.
It's
My mindset's more old school. Like, I want to see you in person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I like the in-person model a lot too. Like that's just
There's plus and negatives to both, right? It's definitely a double-edged sword, because in person you only have so many hours in the day. That's where you're charging more for your time. But on the flip side, online, you know, the problem with online too is if someone wants to hire me for my Instagram or wherever else, and when they go to hire me, I'm like, hey, by the way, you're with Steve. You know, they're like, wait, I've been following you. I want you. It's hard to pawn people off to someone else.
Yeah.
Some people might not care.
Yeah.
That's the struggle I'm dealing with. When someone comes to my office, they've seen my Google reviews. I'm like, hey, you're with Steve. See you later. You know, it's just hard.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
It's a juggling act.
You can have that, like, okay, this is my pricing, you know what I mean? And be like, but if that's, you know, kind of out of the budget, we also have, he's also a pro, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can kind of, defer
Yeah, and I've
way
had
a
that
little.
where I'm like, hey, listen, I've trained this guy. I've had 4 or 5 coaches underneath me. I've trained this guy. It's not as expensive as me, but he has all the knowledge I do. And some people said, I just still want to be with you. And some people didn't care.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the person, honestly.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Scaling a coaching company is just crazy because there's so many different ways to do it, right? Like most companies, it's like, they have the steps lined out, and maybe they do a few different things differently, but like I've seen coaches charge $100,000 a year, and then they work with 10 clients and they make $1 million a year as a side gig, just like coaching or working with those 10 clients. So it's like you can continuously raise your prices till they get absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, where does it end,
like,
right?
yeah.
Right? Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
seriously.
But which like Bedros, right? That's how he's built his whole company is he charges $100,000 a year, right? And works with 10, 20 people.
Yep.
So he makes $2 million a year, on top of everything that he's doing with Fit Body Boot Camp and
Yeah,
that type of
Man Up
stuff.
is that's one of the best books, dude. Man Up,
Bro,
it's one of my favorite books.
yeah, that guy's next level.
Yeah, he is.
He's,
His story is insane, dude.
Yeah.
From where he came from, ridiculous.
Have you read that book?
I haven't read it.
Man
Now I
Up,
will.
it's a book you have to,
I will.
dude. It's, man.
Dude, by the end, so I went to that mastermind, and by the end, I was like, man, I need $100,000 to like do this, even though like I'm not in a position to just freaking drop that, but you know what I mean? Like it's just his energy. It's the same thing with you, where it's like the energy is just next level, and it's truly something that's like,
It's because he knows he's the shit and he knows what he provides.
yeah,
That's again, mentor all my coaches. Let them know you're the shit, man. Let them know this program is amazing. And when you're new, you don't understand that yet. You don't like you have no proof, social proof. Like, hey, look at all my before and afters. Or but like, dude, once you get going, like, dude, I'm the shit and I know what I'm doing.
yeah,
Here's what I charge.
Yeah.
And if you don't like that, it's okay. But get out of the way. Someone else is coming behind you
yep,
to get ready to change their life.
yep. Len Bedros is like mid-50s, and he's been doing it for 40
Yeah, dude.
years.
The dude
you know
is,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, so it's evolved quite a bit for him, and like he's been able to grow it that way, and it's just time is a big component of things, but at the same time, it's like, just takes time to get there.
Yep.
But
Yep. Time and consistency equals results.
yep, exactly. But well, anyways,
Other questions you got from anything else?
I think that's it for today. Blake, any other questions?
I think you pretty well answered all of them.
It was your first podcast, dude. You did really well.
First podcast. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate
really
it.
relaxed.
Absolutely killed it. But yeah, I mean, I don't have an outro, so normally I just say, guys, we will catch you on the next one. If you made it this far, you've learned a lot. So like, subscribe, do all the stuff, and we will catch you in the next one.